Ladies and gentlemen, when we look at the people who've changed the world, we often assume they were born different, that they had some special spark, some superhuman strength that the rest of us don't. But the truth, what separates the remarkable from the average isn't talent. It's self-discipline. Self-discipline isn't a mystical trait reserved for the chosen few. It's a science, a practice, a decision you make every single day. And the beauty of it is anyone can build it. You can build it. Every powerful achievement, every meaningful transformation starts not with a grand moment of inspiration, but with a quiet, often invisible decision to keep going when it's hard, to do the work when no one's watching, to say no to distraction when it's easier to give in. That's where real strength is born, not in the fireworks of motivation, but in the silence of consistency. And it doesn't require giant leaps. It starts with small steps, tiny habits, 5 more minutes of reading, 1 more rep at the gym, turning off 1 more distraction, because those little choices, made day after day, compound. They shape your mind, they harden your focus, they forge the kind of character that doesn't wait for permission, or the perfect moment, it creates it. Self-discipline is about mastering your emotions, not eliminating them. Motivation is fleeting, it comes and goes. But discipline stays. It shows up even when you're tired, even when you're scared, even when everything in you wants to quit. That's what separates the ones who dream from the ones who do. Delayed gratification. It's not just a nice idea, it's the cornerstone of achievement. The ability to wait, to invest now for what you truly want later. That's power, that's leadership. That's how you break free from the chains of instant comfort and move toward lasting fulfillment. And here's the secret no one tells you. Your environment is your silent partner. It's shaping your behavior, whether you realize it or not. Surround yourself with focus, and you'll find it easier to stay sharp. Surround yourself with chaos, and chaos becomes the default. Design your world like your future depends on it, because it does. The science of self-discipline isn't about punishment or deprivation. It's about freedom. The freedom to choose your future, not be ruled by your impulses. The freedom to act with intention, not habit. To live by design, not by default. So today, don't wait for motivation to knock. Build systems, build habits, build strength. Start small, stay consistent. And remember, discipline is not the enemy of greatness, it's the bridge to it. Self-discipline is a skill, not a gift. We often look at people who achieve extraordinary things and think they must have been born with something I don't have. We label them as naturally gifted, mentally tougher, wired differently. But here's the truth, self-discipline is not some genetic advantage. It's not something you either have or you don't. It's a skill. Just like learning to play the piano, just like learning to swim, self-discipline is something you develop through effort, repetition, and belief. Let's be honest, discipline doesn't feel natural at first. It goes against what our brain craves. Our brain wants comfort, familiarity, dopamine. It wants the short-term high of procrastination, not the long-term reward of growth. But the same way muscles grow when we resist gravity at the gym, the mind grows when we resist temptation in life. That resistance, that moment, when you choose the harder right over the easier wrong, that's when self-discipline is built. Think about a baby learning to walk. There's no talent involved, just relentless effort, falling, getting up, trying again. No baby gives up after falling a few times. They don't say, maybe walking just isn't for me. But adults do that all the time when it comes to discipline. I'm just not a morning person. I can't stay focused. No, you just haven't trained that part of yourself yet. Self-discipline isn't missing, it's undeveloped. Now, if it's a skill, that means it requires practice. The people who seem effortlessly disciplined didn't wake up that way. They made hundreds, thousands of hard choices. They've trained themselves to say no to distraction, to show up when it's easier to quit, to stay committed when the excitement fades. Just like a black belt in martial arts isn't born knowing how to fight, a master of self-discipline isn't born with control. They earn it through repetition. And here's where it gets powerful. Once you understand it's a skill, you stop judging yourself for not having it yet. Instead of feeling defeated, you feel determined. Because skills can be improved. Every time you choose action over avoidance, you're rewiring your brain. You're teaching yourself that you are in control, not your impulses, not your excuses, not your fear. Self-discipline also isn't about being harsh with yourself. It's not about willpower alone. It's about designing your life in a way that supports better choices. You train the skill by starting small. Wake up 10 minutes earlier. Commit to 5 minutes of focused work. Put your phone in the other room for 1 hour. Those might feel like small wins, but they build something massive: belief. And belief turns into momentum. And momentum transforms your identity. Eventually, you stop being the person who tries to be disciplined. You become disciplined because your actions start to match that identity. You show up, you stay consistent, and you build trust with yourself. That trust is the most powerful force in personal growth, because once you trust yourself to do the hard things, you become unstoppable. Remember this, you are not limited by who you are today. You are shaped by what you practice every day. Self-discipline is a skill, and every skill is yours to master if you're willing to show up, do the work, and never stop learning. The power of small habits. When we think of greatness, we imagine bold decisions and dramatic transformations. We picture the overnight success, the instant turnaround, the life-changing moment. But the truth is far less glamorous and far more empowering. True success isn't built in a moment. It's built in millimeters, in small, quiet decisions, repeated day after day. The power of small habits is not just real, it's everything. See, we often underestimate the impact of tiny changes because the results aren't immediate. You wake up 15 minutes earlier, and your life doesn't suddenly feel transformed. You skip dessert once, and you don't see a six-pack in the mirror. So you think, what's the point? But that's a trap, because what you do occasionally doesn't shape your future. What you do consistently does. Small habits are like invisible seeds. At first they show nothing, but with time, with care, with consistency, they create a life most people only dream of. Let's break this down. Habits are behaviors that your brain turns into routines to save energy. Your mind loves shortcuts, so when it recognizes a repeated pattern, it starts to automate it. That's great news, because it means once you establish a good habit, you don't have to rely on motivation to keep it going. It becomes part of who you are. The trick is in getting the ball rolling and keeping it rolling long enough to lock in. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't wake up each morning needing a motivational video to convince yourself to brush. You just do it. It's part of your identity. What if waking up early, reading every night, writing, exercising, or staying focused could feel the same? Not a fight, just natural. That's the power of habits. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, said it best. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. That means your dream, whether it's becoming healthier, wealthier, wiser, it's not about wishing harder, it's about building better systems. Systems are built from habits, and small habits are the easiest, most sustainable building blocks you can use. Start ridiculously small, 1 page a day, 5 push-ups, 1 minute of meditation, because when a habit is too small to fail, it becomes too strong to break. You don't need intensity, you need consistency, and that consistency will compound. Like interest in a bank, the benefits of daily effort add up and then they explode. Suddenly, the person who used to snooze the alarm becomes the one who's built a morning routine. The person who struggled to write 1 paragraph has written a book, not through force, but through repetition. And small habits don't just change actions, they change identity. Every time you follow through on a tiny promise to yourself, you cast a vote for the kind of person you want to become. You're not just exercising, you're becoming someone who values health. You're not just journaling, you're becoming someone who reflects and grows. Identity change is the ultimate goal of discipline, because when your identity aligns with your habits, effort becomes effortless. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't chase massive overhauls. Start small. Stay consistent. Trust the process. Your habits are the quiet architects of your future. Build them with intention, and they will carry you to places motivation alone never could. In the end, small habits are not just routines. They are acts of self-respect. They are declarations that your future matters. They are proof that greatness doesn't begin with greatness. It begins with something small, something you can do today. Mastering emotions over motivation. There's a myth that keeps millions of people stuck. The idea that we need to feel ready before we act, that we need to feel motivated, inspired, energized. But here's the hard truth. If you wait to feel like it, you'll wait forever. The difference between those who build something powerful with their lives and those who don't isn't motivation, it's emotional mastery. It's the ability to act regardless of how you feel. Motivation is fleeting. It's like a spark, exciting, intense, but short-lived. You watch a powerful video, you hear an inspiring speech, and you feel like you can conquer the world. But the next morning when your alarm goes off at 5 a.m., when the excitement has faded and all that's left is the cold air in your warm bed, that's when the real test begins. And more often than not, motivation doesn't show up to help you. That's why self-discipline can't be built on how you feel. It must be built on a decision, a commitment to your future that's stronger than your momentary mood. Emotion is temporary, but discipline is a lifestyle. It's a muscle you train every time you act, in spite of your emotions, not because of them. Emotional mastery doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. It means recognizing them without being ruled by them. It's knowing that you might feel tired, bored, afraid, or unmotivated, and still choosing to move forward. That choice is where transformation begins. Let's be honest, your mind is a master negotiator. It knows exactly how to talk you out of the hard stuff. You deserve a break. You've worked hard enough. You'll do it tomorrow. And when you're driven by motivation, these excuses win. But when you're driven by discipline, you learn to see those thoughts for what they are: resistance, noise, distractions from your purpose. True discipline means doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it, especially when you don't feel like doing it. That's where your power lives, in the moments when it would be easy to quit, but you keep going, not because it feels good, but because you said you would. Let's talk neuroscience for a moment. Every time you choose action over emotion, you're rewiring your brain. You're strengthening neural pathways that support grit, focus, and willpower. You're training your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making, to take control over the limbic system, which deals with emotions and impulses. That's not just willpower, it's biology. And it can be You build emotional mastery by setting clear standards for yourself and sticking to them. Create routines that you follow no matter what. Show up for yourself the same way you would for someone you deeply respect. Start small, 10 minutes of reading, 15 minutes of deep work, a short walk even when you're not in the mood. What matters is that you follow through, because each time you do, you're proving to yourself that your word means something. And that proof turns into belief. That belief turns into strength. And that strength turns into a kind of quiet confidence that no emotion, no bad day, and no lack of motivation can take away from you. Emotions are real, but they are not always right. They are not permanent. You can feel tired and still make progress. You can feel fear and still take action. You can feel doubt and still build something remarkable. In the end, you don't need to feel like it. You just need to do it. The more you do it, the more you become the kind of person who doesn't wait to feel ready, because you know readiness is a myth. What's real is action. What's real is choice. What's real is the discipline to rise above emotion and move anyway. That's where freedom, that's where greatness begins. Delayed gratification leads to powerful outcomes. We live in a world that celebrates speed, fast food, fast results, instant likes, one-day shipping. The message is clear. If it's not immediate, it's not worth it. But that mindset is a trap, because everything truly valuable in life, health, mastery, financial freedom, inner peace, requires one thing we're not often taught to develop: the ability to delay gratification. Delayed gratification is the superpower of high performers. It's the ability to resist short-term pleasure in pursuit of long-term success. It's the mindset that says, I'll pass on what feels good now because I know what I want later is far greater. It's not about deprivation, it's about elevation. Choosing growth over comfort, vision over impulse, purpose over pleasure. Look at any great achievement in history and you'll see someone who waited, someone who planted seeds and watered them with patience, not knowing exactly when they would bloom, but believing they would. Athletes train for years before they win a medal. Entrepreneurs fail, rebuild, and learn before they create a breakthrough. Writers spend countless hours revising, reworking, and doubting before they publish a masterpiece. None of that happens with instant rewards. All of it is built on the discipline of delay. The science backs this up. One of the most famous psychological studies ever conducted is the Stanford marshmallow experiment. Children were given a choice: eat one marshmallow now, or wait 15 minutes and get two. The kids who chose to wait weren't just more disciplined in that moment. Years later, they were found to have higher academic success, better health, and stronger emotional control. Why? Because the ability to wait, to delay gratification, isn't just a decision, it's a predictor of future success. So how do we develop this skill? First, we have to shift how we see pleasure and pain. In the short term, saying yes to distraction, junk food, procrastination, they all feel good. But long term, they leave us feeling empty, behind, and meanwhile, the hard choices, waking up early, saving money, sticking to your goals, feel uncomfortable now, but they deliver joy, freedom, and pride later. When you realize that, you stop asking what feels good now and start asking what leads to the life I really want. Second, we need to learn to fall in love with the process, not just the prize. Because if your focus is always on the outcome, you'll give up when results take too long. But when you learn to enjoy the work, the training, the discipline, the daily grind, you no longer rely on rewards to stay committed. You become unstoppable. Third, build systems that support your ability to wait. Remove temptations from your environment. Set up visual reminders of your long-term goals. Track your progress and celebrate consistency, not perfection. The more you reinforce the behavior, the more natural it becomes. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be intentional. And finally, remind yourself every day that anything worth building takes time. Quick fixes are illusions. Lasting transformation comes from sustained effort. Delaying gratification is not just about saying no, it's about saying yes to something better. It's about holding the vision in your mind long enough for your actions to catch up. So next time you're tempted to take the easy road, stop and ask yourself, what do I want more, comfort now or greatness later? Because the truth is, every moment is a vote. Vote for who you are and who you are becoming. And every time you delay gratification, you cast a vote for your future self, the stronger, wiser, more fulfilled version of you. That's how powerful outcomes are built. Not in bursts, but in disciplined, intentional patience. In trusting that what you want most is worth more than what you want now. That's not weakness. That's not sacrifice. That's power. The environment fuels behavior. We often believe that self-discipline is a matter of sheer willpower, that success depends solely on inner strength, grit, and personal resolve. But what if I told you that your environment, the people you surround yourself with, the space you live in, the habits baked into your daily surroundings, is silently shaping your behavior far more than you think. Environment is the invisible hand guiding your choices. It can either act as a powerful ally in your pursuit of growth, or as a constant temptation, pulling you away from it. The most disciplined people in the world don't just rely on motivation or willpower, they design their environment to make good decisions. The easiest ones to make. Let's be clear, willpower is not infinite. It's like a battery, it drains as the day goes on. Every choice, every distraction, every resistance to temptation chips away at it. If your environment is full of friction, noise, and distraction, you're constantly fighting a battle that you will eventually lose. But if you design your space, your circle, and your routines to support your goals, suddenly discipline doesn't feel like a struggle. It becomes natural, automatic, sustainable. Consider your physical space. If your phone is the first thing you see in the morning, it's likely the first thing you reach for. But if a book is on your nightstand, you're more likely to read. If junk food is within arm's reach, you'll eat. But if it's not in the house, there's no decision to be made. The cue is gone, so the habit dies. That's not a test of willpower. That's the power of environment. And it's not just about stuff, it's also about people. You are in many ways the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If your circle values growth, discipline, and excellence, you'll naturally rise to meet those standards. But if your circle is filled with negativity, complacency, and excuses, you'll find yourself slipping, even if you started with strong intentions. You can't soar if your environment keeps dragging you down. So what does this mean for building self-discipline? It means you must take responsibility for your surroundings. You must become the architect of your own success, clean your workspace, curate your digital world, limit exposure to distractions. Set up routines that begin your day with clarity, not chaos. Make your goals visible on your wall, your lock screen, your bathroom mirror. Create triggers that pull you toward your desired behaviors and eliminate triggers that derail you. Small environmental changes make a big difference. Want to drink more water? Keep a bottle within reach. And want to work out more? Lay out your gym clothes the night before. Want to write more? Keep your journal open on your desk. These may seem like minor details, but they shape major outcomes, because they remove friction between intention and action. Even your digital environment matters. Unfollow what drains you. Mute notifications that interrupt your focus. Use apps that block distractions during work sessions. The fewer decisions you have to make in the moment, the more energy you have for the things that truly matter. The truth is, you don't rise to the level of your motivation, you fall to the level of your environment. And the most powerful, disciplined people in the world don't wait for the perfect setting. They craft environments that nurture their vision, support their goals, and make discipline feel less like a fight and more like a flow. If you're struggling with self-discipline, don't just look inward, look around. What in your environment is pulling you back? What can be removed, rearranged, or redesigned? Because when your environment aligns with your values, discipline doesn't just become easier, it becomes inevitable. So build a world around you that reflects the person you're becoming. Let your environment be a mirror of your potential, not your past. Because discipline doesn't start with willpower, it starts with where you live, what you see, who you surround yourself with, and what you allow into your world. Change your environment, and you change your life.